How would Jon Jones do against every single current UFC heavyweight? Now, right now, there's actually a lot of heavyweight contenders. I'd say heavyweight's probably the best it's ever been right now. And today we're going to be taking a look at most current UFC heavyweights. And we're going to be discussing how Jon Jones would beat them, or if they'd beat Jon Jones, or how good of a chance would Jon Jones have at beating all these contenders. Because a lot of people are saying this person would beat Jones, or this person would beat Jones. And today we're going to be going over contenders that, in my opinion, how would they do against Jon Jones? If you enjoy this video, or if you like these type of videos, I did one of these on Khabib, where how would Prime Khabib do against current UFC lightweights. If you like those type of videos, please let me know in the comments, and please subscribe, because we're going to be doing videos similar to this. But starting off with Stipe and Miocic, I'm just going to get that out of the way. They're going to be fighting in November, and I think Stipe loses, but I think it's closer than people think. People are making this out to be an absolute mauling, as if it's like Max Holloway versus the Korean Zombie type fight. I get that Stipe's been out for years, he's old, he's washed, and he's coming off a knockout, but he's got a pretty decent chance. I mean, I think he's a harder fight than Ciryl Gane. Stipe's got pretty good wrestling that Ciryl Gane doesn't have, so it's not just going to be an immediate takedown and submission. Stipe's got decent wrestling. I mean, you got to realise, I know MMA math doesn't work, but Stipe Miocic out-wrestled Ngannou, and Ngannou out-wrestled Ciryl Gane. Stipe Miocic isn't a bad wrestler at all, and I don't think Jones would just have a field day with him when they're wrestling. When it comes to striking, Stipe Miocic has decent striking as well. He can throw a punch. I mean, he's not terrible. He's not like, you know, Jon Jones has fought worse strikers than Stipe. I think Stipe can hold his own. And I'm going to be honest, from what I saw against Jon Jones versus Ciryl Gane, the little bit of striking that they had, I know it wasn't much, but Jon Jones did look a lot slower. His reflexes were there, and his tactics were still there, but he did look significantly slower. So I think Stipe would be a harder fight than Ciryl Gane was. Obviously, he's got the wrestling and he's got decent striking, but he is old and washed. Jon Jones is the greatest of all time, and I think he'd finish him in the round 3 to 5. I don't think it'd go to a decision. I do think Jones would win, probably by submission or ground and pound. I don't think it'd be by striking. I think Stipe's got a 20% chance of winning this. Like I said, people are completely writing him off. I think it's going to be somewhat competitive, but we'll see. We'll have to see. But I think Stipe Miocic definitely loses this fight. I can't see out of everyone in heavyweight, Stipe's probably not the one to do it. Like I said, especially the fact that he's old and he's coming off a knockout loss. I'm going to have to go with Jon Jones by a late finish. Stipe has around a 20% success rate, 20% chance. Yeah. Next fighter, Sergei Pavlovich. Sergei Pavlovich destroyed the continent of Africa. He's very, very dangerous on the feet. Jones would not want to stay on the feet with this guy, because it's all good, you know, you're using your oblique kicks and your jabs, but when 6'9", 350 pound, second largest reach in the UFC, Sergei Pavlovich is chasing towards you with about 40 punches a second, none of that's going to matter. Very, very dangerous on the feet. Out of every heavyweight, he poses the biggest threat on the feet. He's also got a history in Greco-Roman wrestling. People look at Sergei Pavlovich as if his grappling level is that of Ciryl Gane. Sergei Pavlovich can grapple better than Ciryl Gane. He's had a history in Greco-Roman wrestling. It's kind of what's it called? Ironic that his only loss is actually due to wrestling against Alistair Overeem at his UFC debut. And he hasn't really engaged in any kind of wrestling since that fight, and because of that he's won. So if Jones was smart, the game plan would be to take it to the floor and finish. If Jones can't take Pavlovich to the floor, he's in danger, because when you're on the feet with Pavlovich, that's dangerous. Now, one thing I will say is we haven't really seen Pavlovich go full 5 rounds. I mean, I believe every single one of his wins in the UFC have ended in the first round. So for all we know, maybe Pavlovich has a terrible gas tank, but Jones would have to try and tie Pavlovich up and do everything to avoid striking with him. He's very dangerous, and I'd actually give him a 40% chance. Jon Jones, in my opinion, has more skills to win this fight and more experience than Sergei Pavlovich, so I would give him the benefit of the doubt to win this fight, but Pavlovich has definitely a 40% chance. Very dangerous on the feet, and I'm sure Pavlovich would be training a lot of grappling for this fight. I'm sure he would. Pavlovich, dangerous, but if Jones can wear him out and take it to the later rounds and try and force as much grappling on him as possible, and all that clinch work like tripping and knees and elbows in the clinch, then I think Jones would be able to pull a win off in this one. But Sergei Pavlovich, 40% chance I would lose. Next we've got, in my opinion, the fighter that has a huge chance of beating Jon Jones, I'm going to go Tom Aspinall has a 49.9999% recurring. Tom Aspinall is the most well-rounded heavyweight for Jones right now. He's faster than Jones on the feet. He's more powerful than Jones. And I say that because when have we ever seen Jon Jones one bang done someone on the feet? When have we ever seen Jones punch someone and they get put to sleep? And I'm not counting the Daniel Cormier head kick because first of all, Daniel Cormier wasn't put to sleep. And second of all, that was when Jones was juiced to the gills. Jones isn't a really powerful boxer. Aspinall's a way better boxer than Jones. He's a lot faster than Jones, and he's got really good grappling. He's probably one of the best grapplers in heavyweight right now. He's been doing grappling since he was a kid. Like, he'd been doing jiu-jitsu since he was like 7 years old. And we saw what he did against Alexander Volkov and people like that and submitted Andrei Arlovski. So Aspinall would have a really good chance of beating Jones. Only critiques I can think of Aspinall is that he has got dodgy knees. Obviously, I'm not saying he's still got bad knees. I'm not saying, that's going to be terrible. But if we know Jon Jones, he likes to use the oblique kick, and if he used that oblique kick on Jon Jones on Aspinall's dodgy knee, you never know what can happen. And a lack of 5-round experience, just like Sergei Pavlovich. Because Aspinall, just like Pavlovich, he tends to finish fights pretty quickly. He's finished every single fight in the UFC that he's won in the first 2 rounds. So he's never really had that 5-round experience. I'm going to be honest, on paper, I don't see Jones winning this fight. I really don't. When I look at it on paper, I'm not trying to be Anthony Smith here, but when I look at it on paper, I don't see Jones winning this fight. But Jon Jones is Jon Jones, and he would probably find a way to win. I'm done counting out Jon Jones. Yes, I did say Cyril Gane would beat Jon Jones, but I'm done counting him out. If I had to bet money, I'd bet on Jon Jones. Aspinall's got the 0.0001% chance. I'm sorry, Jones has an extra 0.0001% chance that Aspinall doesn't. So I'm going to give the win to Jones. But Aspinall, out of all the heavyweights, is a very, very tough guy. Very tough contender. Then we continue moving. Curtis Blaydes. Curtis Blaydes is actually pretty difficult for Jones. I know he's a bit of a stupid fighter. Decided to stand with Sergei Pavlovich. But he's actually stylistically quite difficult. I mean, he's way more powerful than Jones. Like I said about the Jones, he hasn't really got that one-shot power that Curtis Blaydes has shown that he does have. So Curtis Blaydes has more power. He's a great wrestler. He's a wrestler first, striker second. He's a lovely wrestler, can wrestle everyone. I'm not saying he's better than Jones, probably not, but he can wrestle, so it's not like he's going to do a Cyril Gane. Jones probably beats him on the feet though, because of how rangy Jones is and how crafty he is. I just don't see Curtis Blaydes beating him on the feet unless he comes out like I wasn't impressed with what I saw with him versus Pavlovich, so I'm going to say Jones beats him on the feet. I can definitely see him tripping Blaydes up and finishing him on the ground in like the 3rd, 4th round, uses his little malicious techniques on the feet for the first 2 and then trips him up and ground and pounds him to a finish. I think Curtis Blaydes has a 30% chance, more than Stipe, more than, he's got a chance, but I don't think it's a high chance. I think Jones would win this fight. Probably one of the few people at heavyweight Jones could actually beat on the feet. Andy could probably beat in the grappling exchanges, but like I said, Curtis Blaydes isn't a Cyril Gane when it comes to grappling, but I'm going to have to go with Jon Jones winning this by ground and pound in the 3rd or 4th round, and Curtis Blaydes has a 30% chance. Next up, Tai Tuivasa. He's kind of been going down a little bit recently. He got that knockout win over Derek Lewis. I guess you can give him the knockout win over Greg Hardy, but I think we've seen enough to say that this guy wouldn't beat Jon Jones. Got outstruck by Cyril Gane, outgrappled by Sergei Spivak? No, sorry, Pavlovich, sorry. Got outstruck by Sergei Pavlovich. He's got a puncher's chance. We know that Tai Tuivasa has power. He nearly knocked out Cyril Gane. Unless he was to land one on Jones that would put him to sleep, I don't see any way that he can win. Jones keeps him away with range. Jones is way more rangy than this guy. He'd just keep him away and batter him with range. And I think he could take him down pretty comfortably and beat him pretty comfortably too. Tai Tuivasa hasn't fought that many wrestlers in his career. So for your first wrestler to be Jon Jones, yeah, I think Jones would take him down and beat him pretty easily. Round 1 or round 2 finish, and Tai Tuivasa has a 15% chance. It would probably be an easier fight than Cyril Gane, I'm going to be honest. For some reason, he's still ranked number 5. He's going to be fighting Alexander Volkov. And talking of Alexander Volkov, next up on this list we've got Alexander Volkov. it would kind of be similar to the Gustafsson fight, more the second Gustafsson fight rather than the first. It would be a battle between range because, like I said, Alexander Volkov, I think he's the tallest fighter in the UFC right now. Very long and rangy, so Jones can't just bully him with the range. But Jones would just take him down and beat him, similar like Aspinall did. I mean, if Aspinall can take him down as easy as he did, but 2 takedown attempts against him, both of them took him down, I think Jones would find a way to do it too. Volkov has like a 15% chance. I don't see how Volkov can win this fight at all. Yeah, I'd go Volkov with a 15% chance. I think Jones just takes him down and dominates him on the floor. But yeah, that's my picks. Out of every heavyweight right now, do you agree with these takes that Jones beats them all? Who has the best chance of beating Jon Jones? If I had to include someone else, I'd probably include Jailton Almeida in this list. And I'd say Almeida has a decent chance because obviously he's a really good grappler, but I think Jones' experience, especially with the striking that Jones has in the clinch work, he'd probably just bully him for a couple of rounds and get a late finish against Almeida. Probably should have included him, but I forgot. But that is my current list of who would Jon Jones do against every current UFC heavyweight. Let me know if you agree.